Stock still basically hanging in there with the NASDAQ trying to close positive. Let's keep going through strategy. The portfolio manager is joining us. Nancy Prial is co-chief executive officer and senior portfolio manager, Essex Investment Management. Happy New Year. Good to see you again, Nancy.
Nice to see you, Oliver. Thanks for having me.
Well, let's get straight into some stocks here. I love talking the specifics with you. We just heard John open up his kind of macro case with his interest in finding healthcare companies and value stocks in that category. Veracyte is one that you like that is kind of in that category, I would think.
Yes, and we also like healthcare very much this year. As you know, it was one of the underperformers all year last year, a combination of, as John mentioned, the excitement in the middle of the year over the GLP-1s, plus some fallout from the demise of Silicon Valley Bank, concern about venture capital funding, concern about funding for biotechs. We think that the sector is poised both for a cyclical as well as a secular rebound. We particularly like the cancer area. If you look at what has been going on, in the marketplace for the last 4 or 6 weeks, we've seen a number of takeovers on the biotech side. Many of those are companies involved with finding cures for cancer. We think another really interesting way to play the entire spectrum and continuum of cancer is on the diagnostic testing side. And Veracyte is a company that has existing tests focused on thyroid cancer, prostate cancer, bladder cancer, that they are doing at the front end to identify cancers very early. They also just yesterday, in fact, announced the acquisition of a small Israeli company that will get them into the testing that's done after treatment. It's called MRD, which is looking for minimum residual disease. It's a small company with a first product that will be out in the bladder cancer area, so extending their franchise in urology. And then finally, the bluebird here, which people have been waiting for a long time, but is still potentially on the table because it's in development, is a nasal swab test for lung cancer. Oh, wow. If they're going into another level of testing this year. If they get approved for that, that will truly be a game changer.
That sounds
in the
amazing.
meantime, they're beating the top line. They pre-announced both for the quarter and the year, 20% plus growth for calendar 2023. Their guidance going forward is for 13 to 15% growth. We think that's conservative, and they expect to generate cash next year. They have a couple $100 million, 200 odd million on the balance sheet now, and they expect to be cash flow positive even with the R&D spending.
That sounds like a really big breakthrough if you're able to test for lung cancer by swabbing the nose, especially now that we all got used to swabbing the nose over the last couple of years. Any connection there at all? Did they find anything from like the process of how we were testing for COVID or something?
No, they've been working on this before that. I mean, it's just an easy way. And they do have some lung cancer testing already, but certainly post-COVID and post an increase in many respiratory diseases, the need for early indication testing for lung cancer has done nothing but grow.
All right. Very exciting. Cool name. What is with the volatility from the all-time highs? I mean, this was like way up there near $90 2 years ago.
Right. Well, it was a very expensive stock 2 years ago. Of course, people were very excited post COVID on all of these diagnostic testing companies, and they are a money-losing company. As rates started to go up and the market lost interest in companies that were losing a lot of money, that were not generating cash, the stock came down with it. You know, we think 2020 hindsight, it was ahead of itself at the end of 2020, early 2021. We think it's come down way too far given the strong fundamentals, and the valuation now makes sense at about 5 times revenues.
All right. Let's do a big winner here. NVT, nVent Electric. Thing is up more than 2x over the last 3 years, and seems like it's got some important connections into like the Mag 7 tech secular themes, but of course it's a much smaller business.
Exactly, and we do like the way we like playing AI and some of these really exciting emerging trends in technology through the back door, where you get exposure to the growth in the industry, without having to pay as much of a multiple as you do for the more visible names. Last year, although nVent was certainly a very good name for us last year, a lot of the attention was focused on some of the more obvious plays, particularly NVIDIA. nVent is a way that plays on the build out of the data centers that are needed in order to power all of the work in generative AI. And they provide boxes and closures, they provide heat sinks, all of the nuts and bolts, if you will, that you need in order to run these big data centers. They also have exposure in some of the energy transformation areas, building out the transmission network of the United States. And one of the guarantees I will give you for how generative AI plays out, there's not much I'll guarantee, but one is that we will need to generate well more electrical power than the country thought they would need to generate, and certainly than we currently have. And so there will be continued need for transmission, distribution, and generation.
Wow, okay. Company that's going to be spending money to make money right now?
They are, but not in a way that is detrimental. I mean, they're solidly profitable, they're cash flow positive. So this is a blocking and tackling industrial company that's benefiting from the build out of the industrial economy in the United States, and in the case of nVent, specifically benefiting from the energy transformation and generative AI.
All right, love it. Always appreciate the details. Stock specific picks, always welcome from you. Thanks, Nancy.
Thank you.